One of the things that I love to do is get new faces with new stories. And we're going to have a conversation with Steve Afra, somebody I follow on Instagram, and reached out to him cold and said, hey, would you be interested in coming on the show? And he said yes. Yes, cold DMs work. Steve, how you doing, buddy? Thanks for saying yes.
How are you? How are you? Of course, Michael. I love
I'm
it.
doing really well.
Listen,
Why don't you?
I'm all about cold calling and cold everything, right? If you don't try, you'll never get results.
That's right. You miss every shot you do not take.
That's right.
So obviously I follow you on Instagram, know your story pretty well, but let's assume my audience doesn't, but they will be following you shortly. Why don't you give us kind of your resume in the real estate space?
Okay, so I started out really young. I'm from New York originally. My father was a fix and flipper back in the day, so I grew up in the '80s, helping him out. I was, a teenager, young teenager, and then what turned out to be a summer job became a profession. My mom's best friend was the executive vice president of the largest privately held mortgage company back in the day. Um, and she got me a summer job working there, and I got the bug. I was supposed to go away for college. I decided to hang around. I went to Hofstra instead on Long Island. I continued to work. I worked my way up the ladder within that organization. We were the #1 FHA lender in the country back then. I got my chum's number. I got all of that stuff. I became an underwriter there. And long story short, I stayed in the business. I paid my way through college, through law school. I got out. I practiced law for like 2 seconds, and I got back into the mortgage business. Smart. I'm the best kind of attorney and non-practicing one.
Yes.
Right? Those are the best ones.
Yeah.
And then just life happened. Was in the business for a long time. 2008 happened. Got hurt like everybody else. Went from riches to rags within literally 3 weeks. And then we just had to redefine ourselves, right? And the people that were able to redefine themselves, they did. 2014, I ended up moving to California. I was one of the first people to get into the non-QM business. I helped create the DSCR loan that's so popular now. Yeah. So I helped create the DSCR loan back in 2014. Owned a company called M-Bank. We were the largest privately owned non-QM originator till 2020 when COVID happened.
Okay.
And all hell broke loose again. And I decided to leave the regular lending business or non-QM business and concentrate on just dealing with real estate investors and doing private hard money. That's it.
Love it. Love it. Well, as somebody who's been in the game a long time, was doing quite well up into 2008, got hurt in 2008, I'd be remiss if we didn't have a short conversation about that, because there's all kinds of press, even a Newsweek article with a housing doomer saying we're going to start a 50% housing crash that will be worse and faster than 2008. Wow. And I'm curious, do you see the setup for something like that?
Absolutely not. Look, at the end of the day, people that make those claims, fear sells, right? The more they scare people, it sells. And what people don't understand, and again, I'm not a big conspiracy theorist. I'm not. And for people to really understand, some of the corporations that I talk about, like the Blackstones, the BlackRocks, I actually do business with them. Mm-hmm. I don't do little business. I do a lot of business with them. So I understand the psychology that they have, right? They also have to understand that these are the companies that own some of these news corporations. So when they put out bad news about real estate and they keep people out, or they tell them, hey, keep renting. Renting is better than buying, even though what's the average net worth of a renter in the United States? Less than $10,000.
$8 grand. Yeah, $8 grand.
$8 grand, right? I was going to be generous and say 10. What's the average net worth of a homeowner in the United States?
Hundreds of thousands, yes.
It's between 390,000 and 430,000.
There you go.
It's the funniest thing when these people come on and they argue with me that buying a home is such a bad investment. I tell them, okay, well, how much are you worth? You're worth nothing, right? And really, Look, they go back to Grant Cardone and they'll say, "Oh, Grant says owning a home is not good and invest in this." I tell them, be your own landlord for a year before you could
Yes.
go and invest. And who's buying a multifamily? Everybody has Budweiser pockets and
Yeah.
champagne dreams, right? Especially in real estate.
Yeah.
Start small. But to get back to what you were saying, 2008 was an anomaly in the real estate business, right? And lending. And it really had to do with lending practices that led to the demise of 2008. Okay. Those lending practices do not exist today. So there is no basis for the real estate to crash the way it did. Now,
Yeah.
can real estate correct? 100%.
Yeah.
And it's been correcting the last 2 years. Will it crash? There is no basis for it to crash. For what reason is it going to be worse than 2008? And they don't have an answer for it. They can tell me, oh, it's AI, it's this, it's aging population. We still have an 8 million home shortage in the United States, right?
Yeah. No, yeah.
So
To me, it's really interesting when people talk about it being worse than 2008. First and foremost, you're absolutely right. Doom sells. A lot of people are now creating content because they know it pays well, right? There are lots of copycats creating doom porn about real estate because that's how they pay their rent. They're not owners, they're renters, and they have to pay their rent somehow. They have no other skill.
Nope.
But the thing that people don't get about 2008, because I started my journey in 2000, so I've been there as well, is 2008 happened because of 2006. What people don't realize is 2008 happened because of the 51% of originations in 06 were ARMs. 51.
Yeah.
And most of those were 2-year ARMs. Hence, the pain landed in 08 and continued to 2012. Yeah, neg am, liar low. I mean, just
it was
stuff
also
that doesn't exist today.
It was also underwriting guidelines, right? It was 100% financing, stated income, stated assets. I mean, what do you think you're going to get? If you had a pulse, you were buying a house. You can't do that today.
No,
absolutely. With the advent and as much shit as I want to talk about Dodd-Frank, look, Dodd-Frank did one thing.
Yeah.
It kept us. If Dodd-Frank wasn't in place, the financial markets have a very, very, very short memory span, right? If Dodd-Frank wasn't in place, we would probably be facing another 2008 today, right? I'll just be honest with you. Okay?
That's reasonable.
That's not the case. It's not the case. 90% of the underwriting that's done today that's going to FHA, VA, USDA, Freddie Mac, Fannie Mae. All of these are owner-occupied with full income check loans.
Yep.
Right? It's a whole different story. There is no stated. And they'll go and say, well, you have the non-QM loans. Yeah, non-QM, you have to put 20% down. The minimum you have to put is 10% down, right? Mm-hmm. And they're still checking your income. It's even better because even on non-QM, when you are a self-employed borrower, they're actually checking your cash flow that's coming into your business, which is more important than your income even, right? And if your business is healthy, then you're going to get a loan. That was not happening in 2008. So these guys are jokesters. And like you said, doom and gloom sells. And that's why I don't have 2 million followers, because I refuse to play that game.
Good for you. I love it. Again, we just got to talk about real life. Again, some of us are out there, been through the wars, done it. And we are trying to help people, which is what I see when I follow you on Instagram. Before I miss, what is your Instagram page so my followers could jump on it?
It's the Steve Afra at, I guess it's at the Steve Afra.
There you go. Yeah. Well, again, one of the things I'd be remiss if I didn't ask you about, again, coming from, are you back in New York now? Or are you still in Cali? Where are you now?
So I went from New York to Cali, and then I moved to Nashville about 4 years ago.
Okay, so Nashville. I'm going to ask about New York. You are a New Yorker, still have that New York grit in your voice. I love that. They obviously just elected a socialist mayor. I'm curious what your thoughts about that are. Will this be just the biggest boom for Miami real estate? Is it a big nothing burger because he's got no power and can't do anything he said? What are your thoughts on the communist mayor of New York?
I
Sorry.
got to be honest with you. It's very disappointing to me. It's very disappointing. And again, I'm a New Yorker, right?
Yeah.
The problem that we have in New York is that what this guy's trying to do, at least on the real estate side, by freezing taxes and by freezing rents and increasing taxes, what's going to end up happening is, look, I don't know where you're from, but I'll give you a perfect example. If you go to the Department of Motor Vehicle, right, in New York City, it is the worst experience you're ever going to have in your life. And you're going to see the incompetence of city and federal workers at their best, right? City, federal, state workers, I don't care if I'm insulting them or not. They're just not. They're horrible, right? Maybe not in other states, and I have to be honest with you, it's not the case in Tennessee. I have actually encountered some of the nicest people here that work for the city, the counties, and everything. In the state of New York, it's horrible. It's horrible, and anyone's going to tell you this, right? Yeah. So now, when you raise taxes on people, you freeze the rent. People are going to not make money, and what are they going to do? They're just going to hand over the keys to the banks, right? Yeah. His idea, his thought is that the city is going to take it over and do a better job and rent these right back to people. Okay. The other thing is, for instance, he wants to get into the grocery business. Yeah. So now he wants city workers to be dealing with perishable items. It's a fucking joke. It's a joke. These people can't even deal with providing you with a driver's license. You're going to have them deal with perishable items like milk and foods and meat and poultry? Are you kidding me? This guy's out of his mind. So I think that the Miami market is already benefiting from this. Connecticut is going to benefit from this. New Jersey, which also is pretty democratic, but they're not socialist psychopaths, right? But Miami is gonna do really well with this. There's plenty of people that are moving down to Tennessee because of this. I think there's going to be a lot of markets that are going to benefit from this guy coming in here and destroying the city. Yeah, he's going to destroy it. And think about everything else. Look, you've been in the game, right? Where does real estate really fall apart is when you have criminal element, right? So when you start decriminalizing things like drugs, you don't, people can go rob, right? And they come out the next day, right? Yeah. They could deal drugs because now you're saying that you want to decriminalize drugs, right? So now you're going to have drugs all over the place, right? He wants to decriminalize prostitution. So now you're going to have prostitutes all over the place. You're going to have an increase in human trafficking because of that. So when those elements come to the streets, people just don't give a shit anymore, right? And that's when neighborhoods start falling apart, when crime comes in and everything comes in and real estate just fails. And we worked really hard for years to clean up Brooklyn. We cleaned up Queens, and he's just going to undo it. But listen, this is what people deserve.
No, yeah. Sometimes you got to be careful what you wish for, and I've told people that I actually said this out loud a couple of times. I actually said before the election that I hope he wins. Why? A, I don't live in New York. Let's be clear. Yeah. I'm in California, and B, I think every decade or two we have to have a socialized experiment so we can point at it and say, look how stupid that is. Yeah. And New York's raised their hand. So and now Portland. So let's see what happens.
You'll get it. Where are you in California?
The Bay Area, Silicon Valley.
So you're dealing with your own share of craziness, right?
Yeah, well, San Francisco did this, I actually used to work on Market Street in San Francisco, and they did exactly what you talked about. I think it was London Breed was the mayor. They decriminalized. There were people shitting. There was an app that mapped the shit that was on the street.
I know. Right? I know. The last time I was there, San Francisco used to be my second favorite city in the world. I used to love traveling to San Francisco. It was such a treat, right? It was by far my favorite place, the only place in all of California. And I love California. To be honest with you, the state is beautiful. I lived in the South Bay for many years. I lived in Palos Verdes, and Hermosa Beach. I loved it. I loved the tapestry, right? But San Francisco always had a great place in my heart. You guys had the best, the only city I think in all of California that had culture, right? The best
Mhm.
food, the best everything. Last time I went there was 6 years ago. I took my daughter for her 11th birthday. I'm staying at the Four Seasons. I walk out. I make a right. Literally, someone pulled down their pants and took a shit in front of my daughter on the street.
Mm.
Okay. And I'm covering her eyes. I'm walking down and I look to the right and there's people just shooting heroin or
Yeah.
whatever they're shooting or freebasing cocaine or whatever they were doing on the streets. And that was the last time I went back. I'll
And
never
so
go
in
back.
New York, it got worse from there. I was actually a season ticket holder of the Golden State Warriors,
Yeah.
and they have the stadium there now, and I just couldn't do it because I would take the train up, which was a great 30-minute train ride or whatever, but then I had to walk about half a mile. It was like, this is unsafe. And oh, by the way, not only have to walk there, but you got to walk back at like 11 o'clock at night. I'm like, screw this. My wife and I are going to get jumped.
Yeah.
No, canceled that quickly. So
Yeah.
it's this is what's coming to New York. Let's try to end on a positive note. What do you tell people today? Obviously, you're in the game. You're very knowledgeable. You have a very big reach. There's a lot of people I think that have given up hope because of the doomers, right? I think doomers steal hope. I think doomers are evil. I think also doomers are broke, which is why they pay rent by creating fear. But we're realists. It's hard today. Affordability is hard today. What are you telling people today to give them encouragement, keep them going back and doing the work? What's the message from Steve Afra?
So, Michael, I told you, I've moved myself 3 times. I'm from New York. I moved to California, and then I moved to Nashville, right?
Mm-hmm.
I moved for different reasons, right? But I can tell you this. I tell people that saying that housing is unaffordable is an excuse for not wanting to change your life, right?
Yeah.
The house that you may want today in the location that you want may be unaffordable, but housing is not unaffordable, right? There's plenty of other cities that you can move to. There's plenty of other job opportunities that you could have. It's that people aren't willing to make the move to make that happen, right? So I went from New York, like I told you. I found opportunity in California. I made the move. I had kids. I had 2 kids at the time. I made the move. Then I had 3 kids, and I made the move because I had opportunity in Nashville, right? To be able to afford a house, sometimes you have to get out of your comfort zone, and you've got to make some life changes, right? Obviously, if you're starting out and you live in San Francisco, you're shit out of fucking luck. I'm sorry. Unless you work for tech and making money, man, you're not going to get there, right? But I can tell you, you can move to San Jose, some parts outside of San Jose that are still affordable. There's just different places, even in California, that are somewhat affordable. Or pick up and go somewhere else where you can buy a house and you can have that dream, American dream, and you can start, realizing it for yourself. So the doomers and the gloomers are going to say today, for today's generation, everything is shit. I'll tell you what, it's so much easier today to get a mortgage than it was in the 80s when I was growing up. These people had a hard time. If you didn't have 20%, if you didn't have really good credit, you couldn't walk into a bank. There wasn't all these online options. There's so many 100% financing that people could get. They have so many down payment assistance programs that people could tap into. There's just so much besides that. In the state of California, I tell people, go down to San Diego, go buy a house. You can put up 4 ADUs in the back. Not only are you not paying rent or a mortgage, you're collecting. You have an upside.
Yeah,
every
I couldn't
month.
agree. Yeah. Yeah. Again, I think a lot of people's expectations, like your forever home's not going to be your first home.
No.
Right. Whether
No,
it's
it's
San
not.
Diego adding ADUs, whether it's house hacking rooms or house hacking a fourplex, right? At the end of the day, the way to get wealthy has not changed. You have to own assets.
Yep.
It's like stop screaming into the void. You're not going to get rich being a renter. I mean, the math is not on your side. Inflation's a feature, not a bug. Get off your ass and stop watching these doomers. It's poisoning your brain.
But that's the agenda, right, Michael? That's the agenda. The agenda is to have all of these doomers go out there, put this propaganda out there, while the big corporations are buying up everything. And then they say, oh no, I get remarks. They only own 6%. I tell them they're not buying. Blackstone's not going out there buying under their name. Do you know how many proxies that they have out there buying these properties? like, for instance, one of my investors that just put up 30 units, he just sold the whole thing to the guys at Fortress in one shot.
Yeah.
Right? That's just
Yeah.
30 units that could have gone to regular people, and Fortress stepped in and bought all 30 in one shot.
Do you, I mean, let's look to the future a little bit. We've talked about the past, current, and let's look to the future. One of my big fears, yeah, it's a big fear, is that we may become a renter nation. And I'll define a renter nation as sub 50% ownership. Today, I still think we're at 61 or 62%. But do you see us going in a direction where we might get that low as under 50%, maybe in a decade or two?
I think it's going to get lower. Honestly,
Oh,
I think it'll get lower. Why? If you think about it, I don't know when you grew up, but when I grew up, I could go to the record store, buy records. I could go to buy movies, VHS, right? I could buy different things that I owned. Today, everything is based on the subscription model. I don't own
yeah.
anything. You don't own anything. When was the last time you bought music? You didn't. You're only renting music. You're only renting movies. You have no physical copy of anything in your hand. There's nothing. Everything is in some fucking cloud. Who the fuck knows where this cloud is, right? But everything is a subscription model today. So housing, they're pushing to do the same thing. Housing is going to turn into a subscription model, right? And that's why I say my motto, I have a community, it's free. I tell them you either own or you be owned, and that's it. Those are your options. There is no middle ground. So now either you're going to own or someone's going to own you. And if you want to be owned, and unfortunately with the fear tactics, that's exactly what's going to happen. But I think in 10 years, you're a lot more optimistic than me, because our voices are unfortunately the minority.
Yeah.
And people don't want to hear. They'd rather hear somebody support their fear and lack of commitment and lack of drive to do something, right? Than to listen to someone like me and you, where we're saying, don't be an idiot. Go out there, do something with your life, go buy. Yeah. They'll rather listen to someone that's validating their failures of why they're not buying, why they're not investing.
Yeah, again, I never tell anybody to buy, but I'll never give you permission to do nothing. That's the thing that drives me nuts, is the people that look to the doomers and get permission to do nothing, sit in a chair and drink a Mai Tai or whatever they're doing. No, get off your ass, write some offers, disrespectful, follow up, know what averages, do better deals, right? Go down to San Diego, find a way to make money, add ADUs, house hack in the beginning. It's just, it's frustrating to see that doom and really just screaming into the void seems to be winning. It's frustrating.
But it's in every aspect of life today, right?
True.
Every aspect. You turn on. That's why I don't watch the news. Why am I going to watch the news? I don't even call it news. I just call it bad news. There's no good news, right? Why would I watch bad news from the moment I open up my eyes? I'm not into it. It's not for me. But this is it. They just want to beat us down and class and segregate us, right? It's white against Hispanic, white against black against Hispanic, this guy versus that, this one versus this, the poor versus the rich, the middle class is getting crushed. They're giving them every excuse for them to make zero moves, right? To just sit there, be great sheep, listen to what they're saying, and keep them out of the game. It's always shocking to me. And when I go out there and I'm promoting homeownership, it's always the millennial and the Gen Zers that are always fighting me about buying homes and saying it's not the right investment. Then what is the right investment? What are you going to do with the money? What are you doing?
Yeah, it's really interesting. I think you probably at least know of him, a gentleman named Graham Stephan, right? Yep. Graham Stephan, big YouTube guy. So I interviewed him the other day out in Vegas, and he's selling all of his California real estate because he's in LA County, right? LA County is basically, Russia. Exactly. Yeah. Rent control, all of that. And I think a lot of millennials and Gen Zers are seeing Graham say, stop real estate investing, not realizing it's stop real estate investing in communist LA County, right? Yeah. There's an end to that statement. They're kind of like leaving off half the statement.
I agree with you, but look, You'll be shocked. One of the hottest markets right now in the entire country. Do you know where it is? Dana Point.
Oh yeah, Orange County, Dana Point. Yeah.
Orange County, Dana Point. So as much as people want to shit on California and shit on California real estate, meanwhile, I know people in Dana Point that are making millions of dollars, right? So
Mhm.
the other excuse is, well, I don't have the money to get into the business. Oh, there's so many ways to get around not having
Yeah.
money, right? If you
Yeah.
have the deal, and if you could be, it's the power is in getting and finding the deals. Now, if you find the right deal, I guarantee you're going to find plenty of money to come back you.
I couldn't agree more. Yeah, it's the deal comes first. The deal
The
comes
deal
first.
comes first, and the better the deal is, the more money you could raise for that deal. And that's just an excuse, like we said, to just stay on the sideline and do nothing.
There you go. Well, Steve, I had such a fun conversation. We'll have to do this again. One more time, where can they find you on Instagram, and give us your
It's
closing thoughts?
it's the Steve Afra on Instagram. And my closing thoughts are this. Like I said, you could either own or you could be owned. Go out there. Don't listen to that negative influence that's coming your way. When they're telling you there's a fire, somebody else is making the benefit on the other side. So go against the grain, and I promise you'll always win.
Awesome, Steve. Great closing message. Take care. Have a wonderful